Ready? All right, good. Hey, people. Rob Clark here. The real lifepreneur. The one and only. Trying to bring real entrepreneur content and value to you to the 21st century. Everybody that tells me about Think and Grow Rich or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I think that stuff is so out of date. And so I wanted to create some original, amazing content for you guys and give you guys some real premium value and educate you and make this a real resource on things that are both actionable now and going to be actionable for you in the future, right? You're going to hear me talk about 6PL, 6 pillars of leverage that is real currency, not just money. Money, in my opinion, is a tool leveraged to acquire assets, acquire people's time, acquire technology, acquire attention, get on platforms for relationships. But it is also only a measuring stick. Money is only a measuring stick. And what I mean is, let me go through the 6 pillars of real currency, the 6 pillars of actual leverage. The first one and the most popular one that people die for, people are slaves for, people are obsessed with, and people will literally, leave a company because of 50 cents an hour, right? It's money, right? Money is the most popular form of leverage used today. If your company is successful, well, show me the money, right? If your company is doing bad, you're not making enough money. You don't know everything about money, right? And I'm telling you that there is 5 other currencies that you can utilize besides money. And I'm going to go through them right now. So number 1 is money. Number 2 is time. Number 3 is technology. Number 4 is your resourcefulness. Number 5 is attention. Attention, it's a really important one, right? Number 6 is relationships. So as you heard someone walk through the door, that was actually like my son. He actually is being rude and opening the door in the middle of the podcast and having fun. But I get to be able to put in a position to where I can bring my son to the office. He can see me close deals. He can see how I, run my day-to-day life. The reason why I have my son come to my office with me as often as humanly possible is I want to teach him about how to master these 6 pillars of leverage and learn to live free. He knows my life's obsession is legacy. Legacy is more important than currency. I'll say that again. Legacy is more important than currency, right? So if you are spending $20,000 a year on season tickets to go to your favorite sports team and everything else, just know over 20 years, you are destroying millions of dollars in interest that should go to your legacy. It should go to your next generation. We are finite creatures. We are not infinite. We do not live forever, even though everybody in this day and age believes that they will live forever. Okay? But let's go back to the 6 pillars of leverage, right? Like I said, everybody knows that money is the most important one, or so they believe. In my opinion, it's actually in the bottom 3 of the 6 pillars of leverage. But it is the one that is utilized the most. It is the one that is leveraged the most for measuring purposes. It is the one that is dictated to be able to control people and turn you into slaves. It's really fascinating to me ever since the 1930s how people have been obsessed with money. and how the only way they know how to generate it, I think this is hilarious. The only way they know how to generate it is by selling it. But they think that they're not salesmen, right? Going to school, going to college, getting all these accolades, these titles, these experiences, working with these conglomerate firms. You're really trying to make your resume better so that you actually can make 50 cents more an hour, $20,000 more a year, whatever the case may be. And let me tell you, in my honest opinion, this is no bullshit. Time is the most valuable pillar of leverage by far. Time. I don't care what you say, right? If you ever look at the richest people in the world, the Mark Cubans, the Warren Buffetts, the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos, right? These billionaires, I could go on forever, right? These billionaires, these guys that are worth 9 figures trying to hit that B status, right? Their number one biggest pet peeve is that they want to achieve more in less time. Everything that these guys focus on is to be able to conserve and save time. Uber became a multi-billion-dollar company strictly because they saved the average consumer 5 to 10 minutes and saving 2 steps of trying to find a taxi's phone number, calling the taxi, and waiting for their dispatcher to bring a taxi to your location. Uber cut that time in half. They charge the same amount of money. In some instances, in some areas, they charge more than taxis. And they save you half the time. And so because time is so important in today's day and age, that Uber became a billion-dollar company, right? And that's literally what it is. There's another company called Bird Scooters, right? They went from zero to being worth $2 billion because the people that are in like those big cities where Uber is not really that effective because of massive traffic, that this company called Bird, they let you lease these scooters that go like 10 to 15 miles an hour. And you don't have to have a license to ride them. They charge $1 to turn the thing on and 15 cents a minute. And you can leave it wherever you are in the city and somebody else will take it and do what they want to do with it. That company's worth $2 billion as of today because it saves the average consumer half the time of walking from place to place in the city, right? So time, people, by far is the number one pillar. But it's also the number one pillar that people think they can sell or trade for hourly wages, for benefits, for 401k, for a Roth IRA, for all of these different things. And I'm telling you, that is the least effective, the highest taxed pillar of leverage, right? So if you have resumes galore, if you want more out of life, if you're trying to get out of what Robert Kiyosaki would say is the rat race, you have to start memorizing and using these 6 pillars of currency, these 6 pillars of leverage to be able to apply them effectively, right? Mark Cuban, if you've ever watched Shark Tank, the number one thing he talks about is ROT, not ROI. He wants to get a return on his time. His time is 900 times more valuable than his money, right? He realizes that he actually will buy other people's time so that he can have more of his to focus on a higher altitude of thinking. Okay? But they all are equally important. Let's talk about technology, right? How much has technology evolved, over the last 100 years? The internet has really taken everything by storm and has maximized these other 5 pillars dramatically. It's absolutely insane. Technology has cured diseases completely. It has gotten rid of stuff. Did you know 100 years ago the common cold would wipe out complete villages? And now it doesn't even kill like anybody except if you're super, super young and you're super, super old and something else has happened, right? Technology has helped us with all of that stuff. Technology is the reason I'm able to connect with you today and talk to you about the importance of leveraging technology. And, I consulted with a lot of companies when I was trying to play in that game, and I did very well in that game and evolved beyond that game. But technology and software was one of the biggest things that I was able to deliver to clients. Not my own. I'm not a technology guru by any means. But I would leverage technology like CRMs, like Salesforce, like Zoho, customize the CRM, MailChimp, and all these other different types of technology to make it more effective for my clients to get more touches on their potential clients, their leads, people that are interested in their service but haven't procured them yet, or people that have actually procured their service, love it, and be able to refer more people or tell other people about them through Google reviews and Yelp and all these other technology platforms. It's obsessive. If you're not leveraging technology and these apps and these SaaS companies like Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all these other platforms to be able to procure more business, then you're dead pretty much and don't know it. I don't care if you're a plumber. You need to be on Facebook. I don't care if you're a roofer. You need to have Google reviews. They all matter, right? Also, there's never been more multimillionaires ever created in history until YouTube started allowing people to make money off of pushing promotions on their stuff, till Instagram started selling media, and we're not even at the cusp of even going into that kind of traffic at all in towards of attention. But if you're not leveraging technology, if you're not leveraging somebody who knows how to leverage technology, life is only going to get more difficult for you, not less. Technology's number one purpose today and focus today, besides conversions, is attention. Okay, but I want to go over resourcefulness. That's the next pillar. Okay, resourcefulness is really where the rubber meets the road. Right? It's absolutely, positively the most self-disciplined reason why you're either successful or not. There's people that have money given to them and they blow it every day. The average athlete that leaves the NFL, the NHL, the NBA years are all typically broke within 5 to 10 years after they get out, or at least a high percentage of them are broke and are forced to file bankruptcy. How could somebody who makes $40 million, $200 million a year file bankruptcy? Right? It happens all the time. Okay? And the fact is that they have not decided to grow their internal resource, their internal education. They leaned too hard on one of the 6 pillars of what they contribute to, and they maximized their time. They made a bunch of money. They leveraged endorsements to steal attention and leverage technology. They made some great relationships, but they didn't grow themselves. That's your resource. And your level of resourcefulness is to be able to have the ability to have self-discipline and read books and go to education stuff and different platforms to become better, right? You yourself have to grow. And if you're not trying to grow, if you're not growing, you're dying. Let's just be famous, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. I will always tell you the honest truth, and I will always be fucking blunt with you, right? I don't care if you love me or you hate me. I'm here to deliver you the honesty. Okay? And those are the facts. I'm here to teach you how to master leverage and live free. And I'm telling you that if you don't grow your mind, if you don't grow your process of learning and self-education, I don't care if it's kinetic, I don't care if it's visual, I don't care if it's audio, I don't care if it's all the above, okay? You need to evolve your brain. And the average athlete that gets out of their professional platform, whatever it may be, the reason they go broke is because, one, they don't listen to the people that they have around them that could actually help them, right? And two, they just don't have enough energy or acumen or discipline to be able to evolve themselves enough to be able to make sure that money lasts forever. And I'll give you one simple way to make your money last forever. Okay, you can grab your money and you can say you have $1 million. You worked your butt off. You generated $1 million. You can put that money in the S&P 500 index fund, right? The S&P 500 index fund for 1/16 of 1%. Literally 3,000% cheaper than putting your money in a mutual fund. 3,000% cheaper, right? And that fund statistically over the last 30 to 40 years has generated, even with the economy downslides, anywhere between 5 and 10% a year, right? I don't know the exact, but I know it's over 5 and under 10% on average every single year for the last 40 years. Okay? Here's another statistic that most people don't know, right? And I'm going to share this with you. So if you had the $1 million, right? Let's just say you had $1 million and the S&P 500 index fund only generated about 5% a year on your money. That's $50,000 a year that you could pull out and use to live on every day of your life for the next rest of your life without ever touching or pulling out that same $1 million. Here's another thing. There are fund managers like Grant Cardone and so many other guys that have real estate ventures that are getting into different things, and they're willing to give you 6% or 7% a year on your money as interest and pay you monthly with no risk in your money at all. And when they sell those properties, you also get a dividend upslide as well, right? On that. So if you have $1 million, I know people like Grant would be willing to give you $60,000 a year without touching or putting your $1 million in any sort of jeopardy because it's in a cash flow positive asset. Okay. Now, these are one of the definitions of leveraging a relationship with somebody to conserve time and make money. This is one of the ways that you can live free, master the leverage, and live free. Okay? And I'm telling you that if you're not making 5 or 10 grand a month residually right now, life is going to get harder and harder and harder for you. Okay? But now let's go over attention. Okay? We understand money. Money is a measuring stick of value delivered to the marketplace. And it is also a measuring stick of the value that you're delivering to the company you're working for or not, right? It's also a tolerance of what you accept, right? It's an exchange of value. If you want more money, then give more value. And then if you think you're selling your time and you want to stop selling your time, then you need to start using these other 5 resources other than time to make money. Yes, you can sell money to make money. The biggest industry in the world is banking. Do you think these guys sell their time? No. They sell you loans, and they do everything they can to assess the risk of these loans and these credit cards and these business loans and auto loans and these investments and these hedge funds are in the industry of selling money for interest, right? And there's a huge difference between an amortized loan and a traditional credit card loan and simple interest and all those things. We'll go through those later on. But the number one currency today, it's not money and it's not technology. The number one currency today is your attention. That is by far the number one currency, right? These platforms like Facebook, like Instagram, and so many other ones, Google, Bing, Yahoo, we could go through all of them. Your cell phone, your iPad, your kids' technology, and so forth. YouTube, it's all designed to steal and acquire your attention for free. Right? Technology also acquires data. There's a credit company that gives you a free credit report. You know what I'm talking about, right? They give you a free credit report, not for all three bureaus, but for two of the three. And they give you a free snapshot. And you have to go through this questionnaire. You got to submit all your personal information. And, you know, it's absolutely hilarious, right? Like I asked my production, manager, we call him Mr. Production, right, Jarrett. And I said, bro, I want to give you $1. Would you give me your social security number? He was like, what? Hell no. I was like, okay, dude, I'll give you $10, but I want a picture of your driver's license too. He was like, what? No, that would never, ever happen. I was like, okay, dude, final offer. I'll give you $50, but I want your social. I want you to verify these questions. I want your wife's social, both your driver's license, your mailing address, and your kids' birthdays. And he looked at me like I was astronomically insane and laughed at me out of the room. And then so I was like, okay, great. What if I have a way for me to get all that information from you, from your wife, and from millions of other people for free? For free, right? All I'm going to do is I'm going to pay the credit bureaus for a small little snapshot, and I'm going to let you see that snapshot, but in the terms and conditions that you agree to in order for you to get your free snapshot that I paid for, 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, whatever, right? I am going to get that information as well and use that data however I see fit to get a return on my investment, because I just gave you something for free, right? And so Credit Karma made upwards of $550 million on selling your information to credit card companies nationwide. They're the biggest affiliate of credit card companies this year, and it's amazing how much money they make versus how much they spend. And they got a way to voluntarily get you to give them your information for free, for a snapshot. And they update your information all the time. And they made a 90% return, which is a good business model. Now, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, right? All of these amazing platforms are designed to acquire your attention and to give you entertainment with maybe 4% or 5% of the time throwing offers at you in the form of commercials, sponsored ads, and things of that nature. Okay, people spend billions of dollars, and Facebook is worth $600 billion because simply they run ads. Instagram is worth billions of dollars because they simply run ads. Here's another cool thing. Apple last year was given $9 billion by Google. Now, why in the world would Google give Apple $9 billion? Well, Apple has about 101 million users of iPhone here in the United States, the quote-unquote richest country in the world. And Google is paying to be the only search engine platform auto-programmed on your iPhone. And this year, it looks like Google's going to give them upwards of $12 billion this year so that Bing and Yahoo won't be able to compete. Because Google is not in the information business. They're not in the Google search business. They're in the attention business. And they know that Apple has 1/3 of all the people in the U.S. have an iPhone. And they want your attention, right? So attention is ginormous, right? Now, I want your attention as well. But I want your attention so that I can give you these pillars of leverage that you can use on your own to benefit your family, to benefit you, to benefit people around you so that you can master leverage and live free. Now, the last pillar I want to go over with you is called relationships. To me, this is the second most important pillar in the game, right? Relationships. Have you ever heard that your net worth is your real net worth? Well, the reason why the rich constantly say that is because they go on boating trips and come back with $1 billion idea, $100 million idea. And these guys who are super rich have their teams who are amazing executors come out and they put this idea to fruition. It's a brilliant idea that they were strategizing while they were fishing for tuna, fishing for marlin, or fishing for bass or whatever. And then they come back and they have this brilliant $1 million idea way to expose the market group. I'll give you an example. Bird scooters, right? Some of the founders of Uber left Uber and created Bird scooters, right? Bird scooters is now worth $2 billion. I guarantee those amazing Silicon Valley guys went out, they went fishing, they went camping, they went to a mastermind, they went and strategized and everything else, and they found additional value in the marketplace. They didn't hit a market, they hit a subcategory of a subcategory and are executing it flawlessly to be able to do it. I would lie to you right now if I told you that I didn't take Bird scooters for a ride. I would be lying to you if I told you that I didn't make an excuse for my son to do something well so that I can secretly go downtown in Salt Lake City and ride some Bird scooters for 2 hours straight with my son and going through cars and traffics and lights and parks and all kinds of places and see a protest in downtown Salt Lake and seeing KSL News everywhere and just seeing all these different places and going everywhere and then being able to spend 10, 15 miles an hour leaving them and going somewhere else, right? And I would be lying to you if I told you I was jealous that I wasn't 12 years old when they had this stuff, right? It's insanely fun. It was a lot of fun. It was expensive. It got expensive. I think we spent like $100 in like an hour and a half. It goes by so quick, but it was so fun. Anyway, relationships. These guys that got together to find this subcategory of a subcategory of value worked together. They did it together. If I didn't have Mr. Production, I wouldn't be able to have this podcast with you right now and have it be so professional and so articulate and have the subject and the content. I wouldn't be able to create the company Lifepreneur, which is an educational platform designed to give you maximum leverage and Lifepreneur education on the 21st century. I honestly believe in my life that, Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill were the greatest minds of the 20th century. But who is the greatest mind of the 21st century? Who's going to update technology? Who's going to update and innovate education to the 21st century? It's not your university. It's not your high school. It's not your parents. It's us over here at Lifepreneur, giving you all the tools and the resources you need to be able to master leverage and live free. Start asking questions. Stop trying to sell your time and start figuring out how you can buy other people's time and make it profitable for your own, right? Stop trying to make excuses on avoiding technology or letting your stop letting your kids touch technology and make them use the technology. What do you think is going to happen in the future? Do you think they're not going to have a job where Instagram's important or some social media platform's not important? You don't think their job is going to be something digitally? Are you crazy? You need to stop letting your kids take their phones from them as punishment. You need to start really doing some soul searching and figure out what's really going on. Technology is the wave of the future. Get your kids in computer programming classes now, software classes now. Get them working as an intern at a media marketing agency for free while they live with you. My kids, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really care at all about my kids' grades in school. I know it sounds crazy. My wife does care about the grades, and I do support her in those. But the most important thing for me in school is mastering the ability to develop and maintain outstanding relationships with people. That to me is the most important thing in school. I will be willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for my kids to go to universities that I don't care if they graduate from, because I want them to develop the relationships with people that are part of the Rockefellers, right? The Vanderbilts, the Andrew Carnegies, right? The Napoleon Hills, the Henry Fords, right? The Steve Jobs. I want them to make friends with people that they can innovate on a fishing trip and come up with bird scooters. They can come up with all of these amazing ideas, right? And I think that school puts an unlimited, unrealistic pressure on the kids to be something that is a fugazi, which means it's not real in the future, that they can go out and get a job for $100,000 just because they got a piece of paper on something with no experience. That's delusions of grandeur at best. I have a bachelor's degree. I got it done super quick, and I played that game. And I will tell you right now that not one single company ever called my university asking them, hey, how good of a student was Rob? Or what was his GPA? I could have had a 2.2 GPA, had 900% more fun, and said I had a degree and nothing in my life would have changed. Instead, I worked my butt off and had a 3.6 GPA, put it on my resume like people actually cared about it. People don't care. If you're in school now, if you're in high school now, if you're in college right now, if you're in a trade school right now, build relationships, right? Now, if you're in a trade school and you're trying to get a job as a mechanic or a beauty technician or something like that, you need to suck up that energy. But I would definitely look for a mentor in that profession. There's going to be somebody who is amazing, who you can give them leverage, and you can work for them for 10 hours a week, and they'll train you, and they'll give you a piece of themselves for free if you give a piece of yourself for free, right? But relationships are by far way more important than anything you're going to learn in a university today, in my opinion, outside of the big five, which is like a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, a therapist, and there's and a teacher, right? Now, out of those five, I don't really care. I want my kids to have great relationships. I want them to learn how to have lifelong friendships, brotherhoods, sisterhoods, and be able to not only be trustworthy, but how to measure other people's trust. Be able to look at these relationships and be able to see, can I spend less time on things with this person? Can I use technology better with this person? Can I learn something from this person? Can they put me on bigger platforms for attention with this person? Is this person going to be good for me, or are they going to try and take advantage of me? right? Understanding relationships is probably the most complex thing ever. I measure my relationships with people like I'm dating. Literally like I'm dating, right? I'm not dating anymore. I'm married. I've been happily together with my wife for over 8 years. I love her, and she's going to be my wife forever. We are so different, which is amazing. But relationships is by far the most important thing. You know, Jarrett, how long have we been friends for? 6 years? Going on 6 years, right? We've been friends for 6 years. Have we got along the whole 6 years?
Pretty close.
Yeah. Do we agree on everything? No. Do you bring a completely different aspect of knowledge and resources and technology than I do?
Of course.
You know? And if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for Mindset Media, right? And it wasn't for your willingness to problem solve and support me, would I be where I am today? I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't. I can flat out say I wouldn't. And I'm not lying, okay? And if it wasn't for my friendship with Jarrett to be able to make my dreams a reality, I wouldn't. I would be still fighting the fight right now, right? And so I thank you, and I value our friendship. Well, who have you said thank you, and I value your friendship too? When's the last time you talked to somebody and said, dude, you know, I just want to let you know I love you, I'm here for you, and I'm blessed to have you in my life, right? Have that relationship. Tell that person that story. And so this is the conclusion of the first podcast for Lifepreneur, going over the 6 pillars of leverage that are real currency, not just money. We're talking about time, technology, your resources, mentally, resourcefulness, attention, relationships, and money, right? I hope that you get value from what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about current events sometimes. We're going to be talking about the different types of loans. We're going to talk about money. We're going to be talking about time, buying and selling it, different platforms of technology. We're going to try and bring some people on here that can bring value to you on a preeminent level. We're going to try and teach you how to steal attention and where to build the best relationships in the world for you to have lifelong fulfillment, friendship, love, and happiness, right? Because at the end of the day, I care more about my legacy than I do about any type of currency. But I do leverage the 6 pillars of leverage to take care of the next 15 generations of my legacy. This is Rob Clark. I hope you got value. Subscribe to the channel. Share everything else. If you saw this was value and you thought that this was beneficial to you, share this with one of the friends that you think in your relationship that you give value to and they give value to you, and share it with them. Until next time, master leverage and live free. Thank you.